What's up, zoners, and welcome to the earliest waiver wire show on the planet. Today, I'm going to be telling you which players on your waiver wire you should pick up and how much you should spend on them. All right, so, hey, this is the week of injured running backs, man. 3 of them, and the first one we're going to go over is their backup, Tyrone Tracy Jr., 41.9% rostered. I would spend 50% of my fab, man, as much as I can, because Cam Scatabo injured his ankle. It dislocated, man. Not even attached to his body almost anymore. And just look at the highlight. It was terrible. So he's not going to be coming back anytime soon. Running back 21 finished last week, Tyrone Tracy, and that was with Cam Scatabo. 9 top 25 running back weekly finishes last year. I had him. He was on the waiver wire show for a while. He was like a top 10 running back, top 15 running back for like a month. Okay. And then he got injured. So he's coming back healthy now. 5th round draft pick in 2024. So just a second year player. Versus San Francisco, week 9, man. They're giving up the 17th most fantasy points to running backs. That is an average matchup. But as far as workhorse running backs you can get off of the waiver wire, man, that does not happen often. So you got to spend a ton of cash on Tyrone Tracy Jr. Next up, all right, what's his name left with a tweetus groin? Saquon Barkley, Tank Bigsby. They traded for him from the Jacksonville Jaguars in the beginning of the season. He's only 19.4% rostered, so he is available in most leagues. 30% of my fab I've spent on him until we know how serious the Saquon Barkley injury is, man. If it's serious, I'm spending everything. He's my top priority, even over Tyrone Tracy Jr. The problem is that they're on a bye next week. Saquon Barkley could get healthy from this injury. 10 total touches since being traded to the Eagles early in the season. But again, man, 100 yards in his first game. He fits the system. The offensive line is playing better. If Saquon Barkley's more injured than you think, man, go pick him up with a ton of money. Top priority money. All right, next up, man, Quinshon Judkins. I was going against him in fantasy. I actually got a break for once. 9.5% rostered. I just spent 15% of my fab on him because I'm not sure between him and Ford, but it's going to be one of them, man. 3 rushes for 0 yards. He did have 5 receptions for 29 yards, so more valuable in PPR leagues. But, man, Judkins left with the shoulder injury. Who knows how serious it is? They are on a bye. Again, so 2 of these 3 running backs that we want have a bye this next week. So they're depending on how serious the main, Quinshon Judkins or Saquon Barkley's injury is, they will be valuable or not. Next up, man, Kyle Monadagai, almost 40% rostered. I would spend 10% of my fab on him. 7 rushes for 24 yards. They were getting blown out by Baltimore, and he is a running back that will get much more touches when they are blowing somebody else out. He is not the pass catching running back there. So 15 touches and a touchdown last week, and then 40% of the running back rushing share this week. 7th round rookie. At Cincinnati week 9, that's what we're looking for. The most fantasy points given away to running backs. So Kyle Monadagai, if you're in a pinch with buys, you might be able to start him flex next week. Next up, man, I've been telling you to pick him up for like a month. 7.9% rostered, and now he actually did well. So 7 rushes for 65 yards, 5 receptions for 44 yards. I think he had 17 points in my PPR league. I spent 5% of my fab on Isaiah Davis for the the backup to Breece Hall for the Jets. And the whole thing is, man, the Jets are on bye this week. They might be trading away Breece Hall this week and getting Isaiah Davis ready to take on that running back 1 status heading into week 10. So he was a 5th round pick just last year, so a 2nd round player. He is talented, all right, but he's going to be workload driven as a running back 2 if Breece Hall leaves. So go pick up Isaiah Davis before they trade Breece Hall. And then Ollie Gordon, I didn't even want to put him on here. 10% rostered. I spent 1% of my fab on him, but he did have 10 rushes for 46 yards and that 120-yard reception touchdown. 36% running back rushing share behind Achane. The coaches came out and said, hey, man, we want to play 2 running backs much more often, and we thought it was going to be Jalen Wright. It was Ollie Gordon. They reverse Baltimore next week, and they're giving up the 2nd most fantasy points for running backs. But this is like the first time and the last time the Miami is going to be up by multiple touchdowns on any team this year. So it's kind of an outlier. Ollie Gordon if you're desperate, man. Next up, to the wide receivers. We're talking about Kayshon Boutte. 30.2% rostered, man. I spent 20% of my fab on him. He's touchdown dependent kind of right now. 3 receptions on 5 targets for 75 yards and a touchdown versus Cleveland. Let's see. Versus Cleveland. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm sorry. 21.7% target share. That's amazing, man. Really, we're talking about 5 targets being bad, but Drake May did not throw the ball that much. We were looking for, 19% plus target share, maybe like a wide receiver 2. This falls over that. 4 touchdowns over the last 3 games. That's where he's being super valuable right now. He's get those high value targets in the red zone, only averaging 4 targets in those games though. So he is not workload dependent. He is touchdown dependent right now, but he's scoring touchdowns, man. 13 plus fantasy points in each of the last 3 games versus Atlanta. And Atlanta's got good cornerbacks, second fewest fantasy points to wide receivers. Miami was just able to move the ball on them. So Kayshon Boutte, I think, is a flex, especially in full PPR, even in standard leagues, man. Moving forward with the way that Drake May is playing. Next up, Troy Franklin. Almost 50% owned, okay? 15% of my fab I'd spend on him. He had 61 receiving yards and a touchdown in the first quarter versus Dallas. I am shooting the show early. Touchdowns in back-to-back weeks. 4th round draft pick with Bo Nix. So same college as Bo Nix, same draft class as Bo Nix. They should have a much higher chemistry together, and it's starting to show, man. At Houston week 9, and Houston is stingy against wide receivers, 5th fewest fantasy points to wide receivers, but I've been playing Franklin in my flex a lot of times in my deeper dynasty leagues, full PPR, and he has been paying off pretty like every other week or more, man. Like maybe like 3 out of 4 weeks, double-digit points. All right, man. Jalen Noel next up, 12.7% rostered. I did start him in my main league, my home league this week, over Brashard Smith, the running back for the Kansas City Chiefs, and I'm glad I did. He had 5 receptions on 6 targets for 63 yards, man. I think it was like 11 fantasy points in my PPR league. Only a 16% target share, but I think he led with targets, or there was only one person that was targeted more. Jaden Higgins, I think. Nico Collins out with a concussion. Kirk out with a hamstring. I think that Kirk is the bigger one here. Nico Collins, okay, that's why Higgins and Xavier Hutchinson had the more targets, is because Collins was out. But Jalen Noel is the slot wide receiver, so look for him to get the more, Christian Kirk is the older, maybe more injured player, because concussion probably just keep him out for 1 week, hamstring maybe multiple weeks. So I would favor getting Jalen Noel over Higgins, because as soon as Nico Collins comes back, Higgins will be out of the picture again, but Noel will stay. 3rd round rookie, man, this year. So high draft capital on him versus Denver next week, and that is the worst matchup you can get for wide receivers. Next up, man, Tyler Johnson, 0.1% rostered, only 5% of my fab I spent on him. 3 receptions on 5 targets. That led the wide receivers for 64 yards and a touchdown, a 17% target share. Man, Garrett Wilson was out with a knee injury, so if that has to be super serious for you to pick up Tyler Johnson. If Garrett Wilson is in, you do not want to mess around with that. Tyrod Taylor was out as well, so who knows if Tyrod Taylor will come back. Justin Fields just won on that game, so I'm assuming that Justin Fields will play again. So if Garrett Wilson is out, we can look for Tyler Johnson maybe after the bye to get us by in a full, in a PPR flex. He was a 5th round draft pick by Tampa Bay in 2020, so he is kind of coming out of nowhere, and they are on bye this week. All right, man, next up, Malik Washington, 12.4% rostered. I only spent 5% of my fab on him. 4 receptions on 5 targets. Waddle did lead the team with 6 for 36 yards, and he also caught a touchdown, man. Washington did versus Atlanta. A 19.2% target share. That is what we're looking for, man. Led the team with 8 targets last week, and again, only 1 target fewer than Waddle this week, and caught a touchdown. Now, Darren Waller being on IR helps tremendously, okay? So Malik Washington is kind of like that slot wide receiver, so if Darren Waller was there, it'd be going to him. With him out, man, Malik Washington's floor just went way up. 6th round draft pick last year versus Baltimore next week, and they're giving up the 4th most fantasy points to wide receivers. So look for Malik Washington to be a full PPR flex option next week versus Baltimore. All right, man, quarterbacks. There's only one of these right now. Joe Flacco, 36.7% rostered. I should have started him this week, man. I've got Baker Mayfield in there, and he's not doing shit. So 25% of my fab I spent on him. He threw the ball, the fewest he has over the last 3 games at 34 times, but got 2 touchdowns and also rushed for a touchdown, man. That was a huge help this week versus New York Jets. 18 plus fantasy points of both weeks with Cincinnati. 23 plus fantasy points each of the last 2 weeks. Quarterback 6 finish last week. Passing attempts over the last 3 weeks, man. 45, 47, 34. He's amazing with Jamar Chase. Versus Chicago week 9, they're giving it the 7th most fantasy points to quarterback. So Joe Flacco is going to be locked in as a top 7 quarterback for us again next week. Tight ends, man, there's only one as well. Mason Taylor, 20.2% rostered. 5% I spent on him. 5 receptions on 8 targets. That did lead the team. So we're looking for tight ends that are leading your league in target, or leading that team in targets. That is what you're getting right now. He's on the waiver wire. He also caught a touchdown. Now, that touchdown was from Breece Hall. 26.7% target share. Holy shit, man, that's amazing. Garrett Wilson was out as well. So Breece Hall threw the touchdown. Garrett Wilson was out, so more targets for him. Only 6 combined targets the previous 2 weeks. So that's not great. You're just rolling the dice here that everybody's going to be injured still by week 9. So I would not spend a ton of money on Mason Taylor, but if you're desperate, he is worth picking up. All right, man, if I forgot a player that you think that should be added, please comment down below and help out the community, all right? I will be adding players as well after the Sunday night and Monday night games. I did shoot this early. Hopefully I earned a thumbs up, man. Hopefully I earned a subscription. Giving us a like since it's out to more computers so we can get more subscription, man. Please, please, please help us out. This is Tyler Big Turd Ward. This is the Fantasy Red Zone, and we appreciate